Good evening, everybody. Namaste, welcome once again. For all you early birds who've come right on time. It's Thoughtful Thursday, where we continue our exploration of yoga wisdom and how it applies, how it connects to our real life and our journey, for the time we have here. Today's exploration is achieving perfect harmony in an imperfect world. Is that possible? It's a question mark. Is that actually possible of achieving perfect harmony in an imperfect world? So we'll be exploring the nature of the imperfect world, which we probably don't need to do too much. I think any intelligent person is pretty on the ball about how things are not perfect and how they agitate and frustrate us. So we'll be touching on that a little bit, and then we'll be moving into what is yoga. Yoga means perfect harmony. What does that actually mean? We'll be exploring this as well. And then is it achievable? That's the question. Even though it seems like everything and everyone is imperfect, within that mess of our own lives and the lives of others and the nature of this world, is it actually possible to find that harmony which we feel is possible, which we are actually striving for, which we feel is a natural condition, harmony. So what we'd like to do is begin, as usual, with a simple guided meditation. Many of you have been through this before, you know what we're going to do, but there may be, they're further down the track, or maybe even tonight, people who have not done this with us before. So we're going to begin with what we call Gauranga breath meditation. We have a little bit of breath awareness, we move into a simple mindfulness practice, and then we move into a section where we harmonize our breathing and we add mantra to the breath. And mantra is the focus of the meditation. So we'll be, as we inhale, we'll be repeating the mantra silently. So our consciousness is focused on the mantra, silent. Then on the exhalation we say the mantra aloud. And the idea is to vibrate the sound, this sacred yoga sound, this transcendental sound, in a way so we can hear it and experience it. And then we rest our mind, we let the mind gently rest in that transcendental sound. And then we take the mantra even deeper, where we rest our heart, which means ourself. We, the Atma, are residing within the heart. And we leave aside all of the things which are troubling us in this imperfect world. And we find rest, inner peace, in that transcendental sound, simply by resting. Resting isn't something that we do as such. It is an experience. So as we go along in the guided meditation, the idea is for it to be effortless, and to simply rest in the experience of the breath, of the mindfulness, and then ultimately of the transcendental sound, the sacred sound of the mantra. So the mantra, when we get to this part, is the Gauranga Mantra. It's a very beautiful mantra, and it has 4 syllables. So we're going to say it in 4 parts, which is Go, Ra, Ang, Ga. So we put those 4 syllables together on one breath. Really simple, really easy. If you've not done it before, I know you will like it. And for those who have done it before, you know what you're in store for. So let us begin. So let us have a little bit of background music if we can, just to help us enter into this meditation state. So perhaps the music has started now. You might be able to hear the music. So if you like, closing your eyes. And we begin with just a simple awareness of that nice, ambient, relaxing music. Just bring your awareness to the sound of the music. During our practice, if the mind becomes disturbed or wants to wander around, we don't fight with the mind. It's important to be aware of that. We gently bring the mind to focus effortlessly in our practice. When it wanders, gently bring it back. So let us begin with simple breath awareness. That breath, the inward and outward breath, is taking place automatically. So now we're simply focusing on that rhythm of the breath. We're aware of the rhythm of our breath. And we allow the breath to take us into a nice relaxed state. The inward breath, we feel how our body is gently expanding. It's helping to rejuvenate our body. And then on the outward breath, we consciously relax. Let go of tension in the shoulders, the arms, the face, around the eyes, the scalp. Also letting go of that tension we tend to hold in our abdomen and stomach. Just let all of these areas of the body soften with each outward breath. Let your awareness be on that rhythm of each inward and outward breath. So actually feeling that gentle rhythm, that natural ebbing and flowing of each breath. This helps to focus the mind and also to relax the body. And this is conducive to entering into an actual state of meditation. Let us begin mindfulness practice. Very simple. We have an awareness that we are watching the body breathe. We are not controlling the breath. The breathing is taking place automatically. In the same way as the heart is beating, the stomach is digesting, the kidneys are working, all of this is taking place independently of our consciously making it happen. So just step away and experience how you are the silent witness or the observer. You are aware of watching each inward and outward breath. You may even mentally say to yourself, I am aware I am watching my body inhale. And then on the outward breath, you can say to yourself to have the awareness, I am aware I am watching my body exhale. Let us move on to mindfulness in connection with the stream of thoughts which pass through the mind. To help us in this practice of mindfulness, also known as the silent witness meditation, you can repeat this following meditation to yourself. I am the silent witness. I make no effort to think, but thoughts come automatically. I'm watching thoughts pass through my mind. I am aloof from them. I am the silent witness of my mind's activities. To enable us to move deeper in our meditation to that actual transcendental experience, we're going to introduce the Gauranga Mantra. We're going to harmonize our breathing, and on the inward breath, just mentally be aware of the Gauranga Mantra, and then on each outward breath, saying the mantra aloud. So let us inhale together. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. A nice deep inhalation. One more time. Keeping your eyes closed for a few more moments. Just keeping awareness of the mantra now in the mind. So we're still focusing on Gauranga is a silent practice. So we can begin to open our eyes again. Welcome back. Maybe there's a few more people who have joined us since we started the stream, so thank you very much for coming and being a part of this. Our online Sangha, our online association with like-minded people who are interested in coming to know more about our purpose here, more about the preciousness of time and how time should be used. What is the ultimate best use of time? Because as we may become aware, particularly those of us who are at a older stage, a stage further along in our life in this body, we become more aware of how time is really passing very quickly. Another year has come and gone. And of course what question comes up is, what am I doing? What have I done in the last year? And what I'm planning on doing with my upcoming months, weeks, decades, whatever we may have left. So that's what this whole yoga wisdom approach is about, is to take some time to consider, to actually consider, not just to hear, the ideas presented to us in the yoga wisdom, not just to hear them and go, that's interesting. That's kind of, I agree with that, or I'm not sure about that. The purpose is to contemplate, to be introspective, to take a what can I learn from my ups and downs? Because there is no avoiding it. Both of them happen. Things sometimes go our way, and then inevitably that shifts, and then things don't go our way and we become distressed by it. So let us not just fob it off, but let us actually use it as a tool to grow, to consider. So tonight, that aspect of yoga wisdom we're looking for is achieving perfect harmony in an imperfect world. So there's many different angles, I thought about on this topic, and many different starting points. The end point is going to be the solution, the answer to how we can achieve perfect harmony, even though this world is imperfect. But we can begin by, what is harmony? Harmony is generally, you hear about, and people run, harmony, body, mind, spirit, harmony festivals and things like that. And also sometimes we hear the idea of yoga is harmony between body and mind and body. Then other people talk about harmony between body, mind and spirit. So these are some of the ideas, being kind of spoken about in connection with what harmony is and what yoga is. So we can also look at the disharmony. What are the... Well, maybe first of all we'll look at this, like harmony, say in music. If you look at harmony, it's a part of music. So maybe there's a number of singers and someone's singing the main melody, and then someone else might be singing a harmony which is higher, or a harmony which is below, the actual main melody. So it's in harmony. If the key is C, then there's a higher register and a lower register, but it's still in C. Whereas if the main person is singing in C, the other person is singing in F, then even if they're singing the melody well, it's not going to be in harmony. It's going to sound discordant. You know, the same thing is there, let's say in a band. If you have a violin player and they're playing their own thing, and then you have a guitar player who's playing completely different chords, completely different melody, and then you have a drummer just doing his own thing, then that's not harmonious. It's discordant and it won't sound good. We can very easily understand it's not harmonious. So as we look through life, you know, through our journey in life, I think it would not be very difficult to quite quickly fill a couple of A4 pages on the things which are not harmonious, which are not perfect. You know, if we, I was just thinking about this, you know, there's so many blogs, self-help books, you know, like how to have, you know, advertisements on how to have perfect skin, for instance. If you use this product, this is the perfect thing to make your skin look like it did, you know, when you were 16 or 15. Which of course, you know, came to my mind as, well, gee, what if you had acne at 15 or 16? You may not want that. But of course they're talking about the collagen and the suppleness and the smoothness of it, because, you know, maybe the skin is becoming, you know, a little bit saggy, a bit wrinkly. So if you use this particular product, then this will actually make your skin perfect again. And of course there's all kinds of advice in all kinds of self-help books and videos and movies and all kinds of things on how you can have a perfect relationship. If you just follow these particular, you know, guidelines that they've stumbled across, and you can pay them and they'll tell you how you can have a perfect harmonious relationship. And even how to find the perfect job, the perfect career, you know, all of these, you know, how to have the, you know, the one that anyone who's on YouTube at all will be, or at least in Australia anyway, I don't know in other countries, if you're watching from there, there's probably something similar. How to have the perfect job where you only have to work 10 hours a week instead of slogging away at a 40-hour-a-week job. If you follow, you know, take this seminar and do this particular thing, you'll have a perfect career, you won't have to work very much, etc., etc. So it kind of goes on from, like I said, all those kind of things, that there is this promise of perfect harmony in all kinds of areas. Then, of course, we look at our own life, even having, you know, I mean, how many books have been written on perfect relationships, harmonious relationships? You know, you're probably going back a couple of 100 years. You know, even just in my own lifetime, there's been a huge amount of bestsellers, all to do with, you know, having perfect harmonious relationships, making your relationships better. Well, gee, if you think if they worked, well, just one would be enough. But they keep coming out, numerous, hundreds, if not thousands, every year. So we see in our own life, even if we read the books, go to the seminars, then it seems it's not achievable, this harmonious relationship, harmonious job, etc. And we turn on the news, or we open our web browser and look at the news, and of course we see all kinds of things happening all around the world which show us that there is not perfect harmony. So quite easy. So the question then is, what's the best way to find perfection in an imperfect world? Well, beginning piece of advice is stop looking for it. If you're looking for perfection, for material perfection, where everything is harmonious, then we will be disappointed, and it is, you know, there's a question mark at the end of, you know, the title for tonight's talk, and then you will find the answer is no. Can we achieve perfect harmony in an imperfect world? If we are looking externally for it, then the absolute answer is no. Just forget it right now. Perfection does not exist in the material dimension. And we become uncomfortably aware of that reality, how far we are away from perfection. But still, for some reason or other, we feel and strive for and yearn for, long for harmony. And we long for perfection in relationships, in our well-being. We don't like to have disharmony. We're looking for perfection, but the fact is we're looking for it in all the wrong places. So I thought what we could do is actually cut to the chase. We don't always have to have long talks. That's just an introduction, and we can actually cut to the chase of, is it possible to achieve perfect harmony in an imperfect world? And the teachings of yoga, the wisdom of the sages, say yes. It is possible to achieve perfect harmony, satisfaction, in this imperfect world. But we have to know where to look for it. What is the key? And in fact, in reality, there is only one main key. There are some things that build up to that, such as stop looking for perfection where it is impossible to find. That includes in our body, like, just again as a slight detour to this, you look at, you go to a gym, you get a personal trainer, you look in the mirror and you kind of go, gee, it's not exactly how I'd like it to be, because, we want it to be just right. And we look in the mirror and we see it's not just right. So there's different avenues we can take. We go on a diet, and the diet's going to help us to lose some of that which we don't like, that we see in the mirror. So is there a perfect diet that's going to achieve that? Well, apparently there is. You see many celebrities and things who have the time and the money and the energy to hire chefs to cook for them and to have a personal trainer that trains them for 2 or 3 hours a day, and it appears it is possible. So then we have the perfect workouts, this kind of workout, that kind of workout, because it changes every couple of years, but actually that changes every couple of months with some new study supposedly that comes out. So if that's where we're looking for it, then we're going to be sorely disappointed also, because no matter how much we diet, eat well, we exercise well, then as time moves on, there is no holding back the tide of time and the impact it has on our body and on our face and gravity and on the other parts of our body. Very disappointing, disheartening and distressing. So the first key, so to speak, if you like, is to understand it is not achievable if that's where we are looking. That's the first realization. The second, and this is the most important thing, is it is possible through the practice of yoga. Now, what does that mean? What do you mean, like doing asanas? No, that's part of the yoga system that actually helps us to have a healthier body, which enables us to actually pursue a spiritual life. That is the purpose of the physical asanas, the physical practice, is to actually help us in our journey to this perfect harmony. So coming back to this idea of what is yoga. So yoga is harmony between body, mind, spirit, and the Supreme Spirit. So in all these different yoga books and magazines and videos and yoga, body, mind, harmony, spirit kind of festivals, they may even include body, mind, spirit. But very rarely, if ever, have I seen, I don't think I've actually ever seen, where they actually add what is actually the most important part of this idea of harmony. So the body, the mind, me, the Atma, the eternal spiritual being, temporarily in this material body, covered by the mind, and the Supreme Atma, the Param Atma. So what I wanted to do is read a little bit from the Bhagavad Gita. So here Krishna actually describes to Arjuna, he says, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all of these comprise my separated material energies. These are the separated material energies. Besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mine, which are all the living entities who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining the universe. So here we get a really clear understanding of, if you like, the hierarchy, starting from the gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind. So the body, our physical body, is made out of these elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, etc. Then there is the mind, and then above the mind, more subtle than the mind, is the intelligence. Now, in our materially conditioned state, there is the false ego, which is above that. False ego is different than true ego. False ego meaning I am. So false ego means I am, and if what follows that is, I am a man, I am a woman, I am 65 years old, I am an Australian, I am fat, I am overweight, I am skinny, I am underweight, I am so many different I ams. So when we say I am, this means ego, but false ego is when we say I am in connection with these inferior material energies of the Supreme Soul. So there is true ego, ego meaning I, or I am. So the meditation or the mantra, Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit. So there, I am is still there, ego is there, but this is true ego as opposed to false ego. So ego is not wrong or bad, and we do not need to get rid of true ego, because ego just means I am, I exist, I am a spiritual being. What people speak about when they talk about getting rid of the ego is this lower self, so to speak, or this false concept of I am or self. So we go through these different things: false ego, and then these are the material elements. Then there is the superior energy, which is you and me, which is the spirit soul, the living being, temporarily in this body. So from there, we want to touch a little bit. We want to kind of just give a little bit of a summary, an understanding, because then, of course, above, me, the Atma, the self, there is the Paramatma. So there's me, the individual soul. Then there is the Supreme Soul, the source and cause of everything and everyone, of all material and spiritual energies, also known as Paramatma. Param means supreme. So we are Atma, we are Brahman, but we are not Parabrahman, we are not Paramatma, we are not the Supreme Atma or the Supreme Self. We are a part of, a spark of the Supreme Soul. So now we have like I can't think of a better word, a hierarchy. There is the Supreme Atma, who is the source of me and all material and spiritual energies, the original cause of everything. So then there is me, the part and parcel of the Supreme Atma, the Jiva Atma. Then there is the false ego, but then there's the intelligence, then the mind, and then the body, etc., etc. So to make it to see how all this connects up, the aim of yoga is to help an individual achieve a life of harmony. So one is the harmonious relationship between the individual soul, the Atma, and the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Atma. This is the first step in finding perfect harmony in an imperfect world. So when my life, my purpose, my will, my desire, my actions in my life are in a harmonious relationship with the Supreme Soul, this is the beginning and the key to how we can live a life of perfect harmony in this imperfect world. Without that step, without that part of our existence, there is no possibility of having a harmonious life. That is the first key. Without that key, nothing else will unlock. So the first is the harmonious relationship between me, the individual Atma, and the Supreme Atma. What naturally flows there from that is the harmonious relationship between me, the individual Atma, and my intelligence, because the intelligence is lower than me, the spirit soul. I'm of a superior spiritual nature. Lower than that, this material energy, is my intelligence. So then there is a harmonious, then I can have a harmonious relationship between myself and my intelligence. This then flows on to the harmonious relationship between myself, the individual Atma, and the mind. Then the harmonious relationship between the individual Atma and the physical body. So this is how this harmony comes about from this first. It's kind of like, if different instruments in an orchestra or a band, if they're all tuned to the same pitch, if they're tuning to different pitches, then it's not going to be harmonious, no matter, even if they're playing the right chords or notes at the same time. So that first is the harmony between myself and the Supreme. So then we come down to, it comes down to harmony between me and my physical body. Then obviously from that also flows, because I am not alone, there are others that I communicate with, that I deal with on a daily basis, meaning relationships with partners, children, etc., etc. So if there is this beginning, the foundation of harmony, which we just spoke about, then that means I am harmonious. I have a harmonious existence. My consciousness is at peace, is at ease. Then naturally that will express itself in my relationship with others, if these others before that are in harmony. I hope you can understand that idea. So then there is harmonious relationship between me and others who I interrelate with. And this also is inseparable from, this ladder of harmony is inseparable from my relationship between me, the individual Atma, and the natural environment, the material world. I will not be an exploiter of it, because I am in harmony already within myself. So this is actually, to put it in its clearest terms, this is the key to living a life of perfect harmony, when I am actually in harmony with the Supreme Soul. Christ, all genuine, true spiritual paths give this same message. And because of my upbringing and the culture in which I was brought up in, I'm familiar with the Holy Bible, and in there, this exact same idea. And if you listen in this context of what we're speaking, of what Christ said, you will see that this is exactly the same idea. When he was asked, what is the first and foremost commandment or instruction that you have come to give us? And he said, the first and foremost commandment is that you love the Supreme Soul with your whole heart, with your whole mind, and with your very being. So you see the connection already. That you love the Supreme Person, this is first. With your heart, your whole mind, your very being, your body, your words, your will. The second is like unto it, that you love others as much as you care for yourself. So here we have yoga, a life of perfect harmony. So he speaks about the first commandment is that harmonious relationship with the Supreme. And naturally what flows from that are these other aspects of a harmonious life with others. The second is like unto it, that you love others. This is inseparable from how we treat Mother Nature and others. So there we have it. This is the key. So how to achieve that, and understanding this is actually the goal of meditation. This is the goal of yoga. This is the purpose of our existence here. This is the perfect use of whatever time we may have in this life. So let me read something else also from Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Maybe I'll read what we did before, because this actually connects up with it. So I'll start from the point we did before. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, altogether these 8 comprise my separated material energies. Besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mine, which are all the living entities who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining the universe. He then goes on to say, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am its origin and dissolution. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So here we understand Krishna is actually telling us that everything is resting on him. Krishna, by Krishna we mean the Supreme Soul, the Parabrahman, or the Paramatma. So for there to be harmony in everything, there needs to be this harmonious relationship with Krishna. If the individual Atma, you and I, if I am not in a harmonious relationship with the Supreme, then this disharmony in that relationship, this conflict of will, this emptiness, this disharmony will then affect not just myself, but everything connected to me. So if I'm looking for a harmonious relationship with the Supreme, then that means that my intelligence will also be, if I'm lacking in a harmonious relationship with the Supreme, then this means that my intelligence will also be out of whack. I will be influenced in a negative way by this disharmony. My intelligence will be clouded, it will be perverted or obscured. My purpose in life, my intelligence is being polluted or being covered over because of the disharmony between me, the Atma, and the Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. And this will, of course, negatively affect the intelligence. I'll be forgetful of my relationship with the Supreme. I will not really know who I am and what my purpose here in life. I will not have the spiritual happiness that I am seeking, because in that happiness cannot be found, in the external material energy. So therefore we'll feel that lack, that disharmony. And it carries on. When my intelligence is polluted in this way, then my mind will be full of disturbance. So there's a connection because of how, this hierarchy, so to speak, then there's a disconnection between, if my intelligence is cloudy, in disharmony with me, the Atma, then obviously connected to my intelligence is the mind. So there won't be harmony in the mind. My mind will be confused, generally in a disease condition. There will be lack of peace, there will be lack of ease. I will not be at rest because the mind is constantly jumping from one thing to another, worrying about one thing, worrying about something else. And the mind will always be searching for some kind of peace, but it cannot find it because there is disharmony between the intelligence and the mind, because there's disharmony between the intelligence and the self, the Atma. So because there is no harmony with Krishna, my mind is also not at rest, because that is my natural state, to be in harmony with Krishna or God. So then that continues. If my mind is not at ease or in harmony, then it will create disharmony, a lack of ease, even in my physical body, because there's a direct connection between the state of our physical health and our mental health. I mean, this is proven beyond any kind of doubt that if I am suffering anxiety or fear or depression, those things of our mental health, then there is a direct connection between our physical well-being. Our immune system is not so good, and cancer and all kind of things are connected because of the mind-body connection. So if the mind is not at ease and it's freaking out, then of course there will not be harmony, within our physical well-being. Our physical body becomes agitated and there's no peace, and of course the different physical problems that we talk about. So the yoga system is actually meant to bring about harmony from the bottom to the top. It's meant to bring about a harmonious condition of relationship between the physical body, the mind, the intelligence, the Atma, and the Paramatma, the Supreme Atma. The yoga system means to bring the body into a condition of harmony by placing it under the influence of the Atma via the mind and the intelligence. And the Atma is in a harmonious relationship with the Supreme Soul. This is actually the key. So to put it in another way, the Spirit Soul, you, the Atma, you, need to have a harmonious relationship with the Supreme Soul, and then everything else will flow from there. So in that, what we read from Krishna, how he's saying everything rests in me, so now we bring up the next point, and that is, if there is a disharmony between you and the Supreme Soul, there will be disharmony between ourselves and others, our relationships. Like if there's disharmony within myself, then of course there's disharmony, perhaps in our partners, our spouse, and that will bring him back. Because I'm in a state of disharmony, I'm not harmonious within myself, then of course that will manifest itself externally with my spouse, with my partner, and if you have children, it will be there in your children, and then of course your children who are also being affected by this disharmony and themselves are in disharmony, they'll create disharmony with others in the family, with their neighbours, with other people they come across, and it kind of creates disharmony in society, in our workplace, etc. There's no end to how this disharmony within oneself affects others, society, the world, even down to things such as war, violence, all kind of things. The world will not be in harmony. If an angry and unhappy, frustrated person, if a person has that due to this disharmony, then there's a tendency that they lash out at others around them because of their unhappiness and frustration, what they're feeling within them. Maybe they storm out of the house, and then as they're storming out the house, they kick the dog, who's sitting there. And of course the dog feels that disharmony of that person, and it feels agitated and, goes and chases the cat. And the cat's kind of bummed and goes and does something, eats a bird. So the idea is that it kind of flows on. We can see there's a flow-on effect. So coming back to this idea, so everything rests upon Krishna. So for there to be harmony, we need to rest in Krishna or God, in our harmonious relationship with the Supreme. Everything and everyone rests upon the Supreme. So, if you kind of go through life and you're experiencing the imperfections and disharmony, then sometimes you're kind of thinking, I've got no shelter in life, I've got no purpose, I've got nowhere to go, I don't know what to do, bummer, 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 what am I going to do in life? Everything's falling apart, everything's in disarray, everything's in disharmony. So the clue, the key, the solution is, if you rest in Krishna, if you, the Spirit Soul, if me, the Atma, the non-material, eternal living being, if I rest in this harmonious condition, in this reality, in this relationship where the Supreme Soul is my resting place, then the struggle is over. Then my whole life becomes one of perfect harmony. Because in that resting, in that complete resting, it's not really doing something in the sense of like doing, going to the gym. I'm going to do this and do it. Resting actually means completely, there's no struggle in resting. If you think of the example of a young baby who's lying, sleeping in her mother's arms, the child is not doing resting. The child is just resting. So this is what Krishna is saying. This is what the Supreme Soul is saying. Rest in me. Find your rest, your shelter, your purpose, your peace, your harmony, simply by resting in me. I've heard my spiritual teacher use a really nice example. If you've ever had, like yourself, had a cat, and the cat's had kittens, and you've ever seen how the mother cat cares for her kittens. She'll defend, she'll even give up her own life to defend her kittens. In my family, my parents always had cats all the time. So I've seen it throughout my whole life, and if there's any danger for the kittens, the mother will go and pick each one up by the scruff of the neck in her teeth, and the teeth are really sharp, and she will take them to another place of shelter so they won't be harmed. And you may have seen this also in a wildlife documentary where a lion will actually pick up its cub and take it into some place which is safe. The teeth and the jaws of the lion to all other living beings is a scary thing. But because of the harmonious relationship between the mother lion and her cub, what does the cub do? Maybe think about it for a moment. Have you ever seen it? Is the cub like freaking out and scratching and trying to get out of the jaws of its mother? No. In fact, the cub feels completely relaxes and lets its mother do her thing because she has complete faith and trust through experience in her mother, and the mother simply takes the cub somewhere safe. So similarly, we need, not only can, but we the Atma need to find that rest in our harmonious relationship with the Supreme Soul. We will find the protection, the meaning, the purpose, the harmony that we want in the rest of our life will flow from that taking shelter and rest in that harmonious relationship between me, the Atma, and the Supreme Atma. So it's not a matter of doing anything. It's more a matter of giving up you trying yourself, giving up your attempt to free yourself or to find this harmony in your life that you're looking for through some other extraneous, external kind of activity. It's this resting in the Supreme, in that harmonious. My whole life is connected to the Supreme in a harmonious, loving relationship. And this becomes the focus and the purpose of my existence. So this is what the whole of the yoga system is to re-establish that harmonious relationship which I have simply forgotten. Due to my journey in this world, that relationship has been covered over. I have amnesia, so to speak. I have forgotten that beautiful, loving, harmonious relationship. So it is to re-establish that forgotten or neglected, maybe we can put it in that term, that neglected relationship between me and Krishna or the Supreme Soul. So to re-establish that, to repair that relationship is the perfection of spiritual life, the perfection of my existence. And yoga is the means of repairing or re-establishing or reconnecting into that eternal relationship. And then all of the other things, as we've spoken about, will then fall into place. What do they call it? The domino effect. You've seen that sometimes where they set up some kind of amazing thing and they just, with dominoes, and then they just flick the first one and then this whole scene kind of happens because of that one first domino flicking it, and the impact of how that kind of goes around is the same idea. The first is the first. To love the Supreme Soul with your whole heart, with your whole mind, with your very being, to dovetail your will with the will of the Supreme. Such a spiritual life will bring harmony, joy, peace, ananda, happiness, love. All of these things flow from that. So how to do that? How can we actually rest? And because Krishna is offering that rest. So we rest, and this is how it's been handed down to us by the yoga sages, is Harinama, Harinama. To rest in the holy names of the Supreme. Because there is no difference between the Supreme Soul, the Parabrahman, the Paramatma, Krishna, or God. There is no difference between the holy names of the Supreme and the Supreme. So when we actually rest in those transcendental names, in those beautiful names of the Supreme. When we meditate, when we sing them, when we chant them, when we meditate upon them silently, when we meditate upon them with our breath, when we meditate upon them perhaps with the sense of touch, with the practice of japa meditation, to make this a daily practice, this is how we repair or deepen or grow that harmonious relationship. And it becomes more and more harmonious as we engage in this sadhana or spiritual practice. So let us rest in these holy names of the Supreme. And this will have a purifying effect upon the heart, the mind, the intelligence, upon me, the Atma. And more I will discover and experience the reality of my relationship with the Supreme and the harmonizing nature of that relationship in every aspect of my being. So let us do that. And again, as we mention each week, if anyone has any questions they want to put through, then maybe that's something we can cover in a future Thoughtful Thursday, or maybe even just one-on-one if it's something you'd like to ask in person. So we're going to have some kirtan now. We're going to rest like that, and just remember the baby in the mother's arm, or the cub in the protection of its mother's mouth. So you have to tune me down a little bit. So please join in. You can just listen as well, of course. It's just as good, but it's nice joining into to kirtan. So here's Madhya Lila.
Rama,
Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana,
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana,
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana,
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana,
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana,
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana,
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana,
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana,
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana.
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana. Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana.
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana.
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana. Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana.
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana. Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana. Okay, so I hope you had a nice rest there. So this is the wrap up. This is what to do. This is how to do it. It is actually as simple as that. So it's just a matter of finding the time, putting aside the time, and we can actually live. It is, as we recommend and speak about every time in our talks, it is a gradual process. It is not to be expected that, okay, yep, got that, and then all of a sudden every part of our life is in complete harmony. It is a gradual application of living this wisdom, applying the practices of yoga, and then this harmonious relationship will develop. So thank you so much again, and look forward to catching up sometime in the very near future. Is there anything else we need to let people know about?
Join us tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, of course, we have our candlelight kirtan starting at 6:30 Queensland time till 8, and then every Sunday we have the same thing from 5 until 7-ish, 7:30-ish. So lots of kirtan, and of course if you go to asmy.tv, you can be part of that. You can subscribe to our YouTube, all those good things, and you'll be in the loop. Thank you so much. Haribo. Namaste. Gopala, Govinda Rama.